Hello, my name is Jorge Zubieta and welcome to the interview of GIRO Positivo. Ian Usher, the man who sold his life in eBay, is set on a worldwide adventure to accomplish 100 goals in 100 weeks. And one of his goals was actually to be in Day of the Dead in Oaxaca, and we met there. So today I want to invite you to talk about this relation or link between setting goals in life, accomplishing one's goals, and happiness in one's life. So stay with us. Ian Usher is here today from Colorado, USA, and myself from Chipre in the Mediterranean. Good morning, good night in Colorado, Ian.
Yes, good evening from here, and good morning to you. You're a day ahead of me there, aren't you?
Right. Okay. Tell us about a little bit about which kind of goals did you have? Like what was the complexity about them?
I've always been excited by the sort of adrenaline activities. So there was a couple of skydive goals in there, the running of the bulls in Pamplona, flying in a jet fighter plane, and riding a motorcycle on the wall of death. Learned to speak much better French than I could speak, learn to play a harmonica, learn to play a didgeridoo, you know, the wooden Australian...
Yeah, very powerful vibration, yes.
Yeah, fantastic. There was an awful lot of places I just wanted to see. You know, I wanted to see New York, I wanted to see Las Vegas, I wanted to walk to Everest Base Camp, I wanted to walk on the Great Wall of China, go and see the Statue of Liberty. Trying to go and see Taj Mahal meant nothing in the end, really. It was this experience with this wonderful family who was so kind and so generous. I wanted to put a few goals in there that didn't seem quite as self-absorbed as some of them were. I was fundraising for colon cancer research, which is what unfortunately took my father much earlier in his life than it should have done. And I worked in a soup kitchen on Christmas Day. I've always been a big fan of Richard Branson, who Virgin Group, Virgin Airlines and Virgin Records and so on. Another incredible experience I had was in Japan. I went swimming with a mother humpback whale and her calf, and I've never been so close. She was only 2 or 3 meters away. I've never been so close to such a beautiful, enormous creature. Just the sort of power and size of her. She was absolutely beautiful.
Another one of your goals, Ian, was having a published book. Now that your book is out, if someone would state that Ian Usher is nowadays the leading expert on setting goals and accomplishing them, what most significant facts would they use to back it up?
Oh, I don't know. I would be extremely flattered to be considered any kind of expert in anything, really. I was just... You know, all this sort of, that type of thing makes me laugh, really, because I was just going out and doing the stuff I wanted to do. You know, these were just all things that excited me to go and do. But I guess, yeah, you know, I guess it does show that if you really set your mind to it and you write these things down and you make a plan, it's incredible what you can achieve when you set your mind to it. What was the question? I've forgotten what the question was.
The question is, what would be the facts
yes.
that could help somebody to back up the statement of you being an expert?
I guess the fact that out of a list of 100 goals, all of which were quite challenging, I achieved 93 of them in less than 2 years. I think that fact stands for itself, really. It speaks for itself.
Let's do a little of futuristic visioning right now. Like, how would you see this world if everyone just made their own 100 goals, put them down in a list, and went to get them done? How would you see the world changing?
Can you imagine that? It would be a pretty frantic place, I think, people dashing around all over like I was for a couple of years. I certainly think the world would be probably a much more productive place and perhaps a much happier place too, because if everyone was working, like we were just saying, if everyone's working towards things that really are important to them, and they're achieving them as well. You know, it's once you start writing down a list of goals and then say, right, what do I need to do to achieve that goal? And then you start doing it. You know, it's only a matter of taking the first step and then taking the next step and then taking the next step. Then what an amazing place the world would be if everyone was sort of achieving these things instead of just sort of wondering what life's about and what they should be doing. That would be amazing.
We're now talking about basically the meaning of life and what do we do with it.
Yeah, I don't think I've really come across the answer to the meaning of life, but it's interesting looking for it, I guess. And I guess everyone's answer to what the meaning of life is fairly personal anyway, isn't it? We all have a different outlook on what our life's maybe supposed to be about or what we should be doing with it.
And one thing you wrote on your website, really, it's the starting point of this interview. And I want to quote you on this. You said, I am excited about the future and really having no idea where events might lead me. I love the adventurous nature of the project and I'm excited about a new start. After hearing this, anybody in the world, I think, would say that this is somewhat of an extremely right side of the brain and out-of-the-box life choice. Wouldn't you say?
I would have to agree, yes. It's probably not... It's probably not a choice that most people would make to put their whole life for sale up on eBay and then set off to travel the world for 2 years. I've always been a believer that life is about experience, and we all only get one go at life. And for me, I believe I want to pack in as much exciting and unusual experience as possible into it. So when life presented me with some challenges, this was the way I decided to deal with it.
So this was your unique response to, what would you say, uninvited event from the past.
Yes.
Something that happened to you, and this was your unique way to respond towards that event.
Yes.
What would be the difference between that and uninvited events in the future? For example, people that had been told about theories about the Mayan calendar, the end of the world. Would that be similar, like that unique way to face life and to choose what you want to do with it?
If you really believe the world's going to end on the 21st of December next year, then if the stuff you want to do, I suggest you go on and get it done. And if the world doesn't end, then it's a bonus. You've got some extra time, but you've achieved some of the things you wanted to achieve, you know.
This project was at the beginning a new thing. You didn't know what the outcome would be, but it came to have a very structured plan, right? Like with very specific kinds of goals and categories and timeline to accomplish them. Tell us a little bit, Ian, how did that all happen?
Well, it started the unfortunate catalyst for putting my life up for sale on eBay was the separation from my wife. I was married and lived in Australia, and I discovered that life had a surprise in store for me, and my marriage didn't continue the way I expected it was going to. So decided for me it was time to get rid of everything, and decided it was all going to be listed as one big auction on eBay. It did eventually develop into, I was asked many times, what will you do after you've sold your life? And eventually that developed into a list of 100 goals with a timeline of 100 weeks to try and achieve those, which, yes, is from the outset, I guess, looks like a very structured and organised sort of thing. But for me, it probably feels like a duck on water. You know, it all looks calm and flat on the surface, but underneath the duck's feet are paddling away quickly. So the website looks organised. I had some wonderful help putting the website together, but behind that, I was planning stuff like the night before. Sometimes it was all very much last minute planning.
What about the role of happiness? Talking about this chase we're doing every day in modern days, like we want to catch happiness. Do you think that happiness is related with setting and accomplishing goals in life?
I think it is to a large degree. if you set a list of goals, then they are things that are personal to you and things that you want to achieve. So if you're spending your time working towards things that you have picked that you want to achieve, there's got to be a great deal of happiness in that, rather than working towards someone else's goals, or working in a job that you hate and that you're just turning up because you get paid for it. It must be much more satisfying to be doing the things that you want to be doing.
What about the money factor? Most people would say, I can't do my goals, I don't have money. Thank you so much for sticking with us through this interview with Ian Usher. Please keep in touch by going into our Facebook fan page at facebook.com/GIRO POSITIVO. You could click in the like button and also fill out the form to be registered to our newsletter. Okay, we are going to continue with the next section of this interview with Ian Usher, with a lot of fantastic questions. May you be happy at work and happy at life.